Aloha friends, and welcome to my studio apartment here in Nashville. I know it's not exactly a tiny Hawaiian bungalow anymore, but I'm pretty happy with the space. I get lots of natural light, and I finally have room to have my art collections and nature collections out on full display. Now, you know me, it takes a long time for me to get everything situated just the way I like it before I'm ready to invite you guys in. But I'm pretty happy with how things turned out, and I'm super glad to have you here today. So first, I'm going to show you around my apartment, and then I'm going to show you exactly how I organize my studio specifically. So if I had to self-identify an aesthetic, I would definitely say nature and art, whether it's paintings that I've created or artwork from other people. Basically, everything I have is either handmade, one-of-a-kind, very special works of art, or made by Mother Nature. I've also been very fortunate to inherit a number of incredible art pieces from my grandmother's world travels during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like this liqueur set that's somehow painted on silver, or these drink coasters made of brass from India that I have never seen anything like it in my life. Some of my deceased creatures or creature parts are things that I found, but often I have friends give me really cool things like this real rattlesnake rattle. Check it out. Incredible, what a gift. Even my parents send cool finds, like this beaver skull from my stepdad, or this beaver stick from my mom. Isn't that so amazing? Every teeny tiny little bite mark, so perfectly spaced. So cute. My dad passed away and left me a pretty awesome record collection, which I definitely enjoy to this day. And one of the hardest things I have in restraining myself is buying more art books. I just love them so much. But besides the art books you can buy, I've actually been making what I call my special memory books. I guess they're kind of like scrapbooks. Ever since I was a young teenager, just comprised of little bits and bobs from travels I've done, or quotes, or passages from books, or sometimes things from friends. I don't know. It's just kind of like collage memory of my whole life. I've been making these for about 25 years now, and I've gotten much better than this. This is kind of an early one, but you know, they're always fun to thumb back through and remember where I was at that point in my life. I don't know if you guys would be interested in seeing something like this, but like I said, I have a number of these books, and if you'd like me to do a little flip through video, it's, I won't go into super detail and read every single passage, but I'd be happy to share them if you want. Drop me a comment down below and let me know. I like to get books from when I travel to help me relive those special memories. And here's another amazing bronze stacked tower from one of my grandmother's travels. Check out that abacus too. My mom actually learned how to count on that when she was little, traveling all over with my grandma. How random, huh? One of my most favorite things I own is this beautiful little oil painting of a Pegasus my dad did when I was only a year old, and I just love it so much. And shout out to any other Brian Froud fans, because when I was young, I was like obsessed with all of his fairy books. Now, if you like those last few dead critters, you would love my living room coffee table. It is full to the max of all kinds of naturific finds. Like, check out these massive porcupine quills. Not something I would want to get jammed in my mouth or paw as an animal. Yikes. I've also found a few bird's nests blowing on the ground in various places too, coincidentally enough. These two are from the mainland, and I also found a few in Hawaii. This one is really beautiful. I love how it's all swirled together. It's so tiny and delicate. But check this one out that I found at the beach. It's made obviously by the same bird, but all from beach trash and fishing lines and just general pollution. Isn't it like the most poetically sad yet gorgeous thing ever? And what dead creature collection would be complete without my own pufferfish? Oh yes, stare into the eye. Teeny tiny turtles, check and check. Not sure exactly what happened to this guy, but it looks like somebody had a little snack and the rest of him dried out. I decided to put my studio space directly in my living room, right by the windows, so I could get all the natural light possible. And luckily for me, even though I live in an apartment complex, my view isn't bad, especially when I get to stare at Vaughn the adventure van the whole time. Hi, buddy. No, but seriously, most of everybody's unit, unfortunately, looks out at the parking lot, but luckily for me, I actually get quite a bit of nature right out in front of my apartment, so I'm always admiring the view. But no matter what the weather, the planties on my shelf between my porch and bedroom are always happy because I bought special grow lights to make them blossom and bloom all year long. I cannot even tell you how much having all this greenery around me in my apartment makes me so happy, and give them all the fun accessories like this petrified wood or this real set of nesting dolls from Russia. I just love my little plant babies so much. Plus, I love that they help to keep dear old dad company. I sure would hate to think about him being lonely on the shelf. Love you, Dad. Miss you every day. Up top is a little more Caleigh bird art, plus a few small pieces from some of my other favorite artists, from Picasso to my awesome Canadian cousin, Jake Bowen. I just love his existential work so much. A few more pieces from Grandma's Worldly Travels, and I couldn't help but share and to frame this amazing piece. I'm on a sticker from my girl Shauna at The Illustrator. I love it so much. In the middle of the room is pretty much like my incense, oil, sage, burning table. I pretty much always have good scents going on. I just grew up always having incense going on in my house. Actually, my mom even made this beautiful stained glass box that I keep all my incense in, just as a reminder to the Nag Champa she introduced me to as a young child. Here's another exciting piece from my grandmother's collection. This one is handmade in Thailand. A lot of art in my home I've actually traded for, like these two original bird pieces. Just another benefit of being an artist and creative out in this wonderful world. There's literally stories behind like every single thing on the shelf, but I don't want to totally overwhelm and go crazy. Sometimes you can just enjoy some cool dead things for what they are, right? So here's a little peek into my kitchen, otherwise known as the greenhouse. So it's a fine-sized kitchen. It's whatever, you know, it opens up nicely from the rest of the house. But the one thing is it doesn't have any windows. But when I found out that plants actually really like fluorescent lighting, which is what's in here, I decided just to go crazy and bring the outdoors in. My kitchen has probably more plants per square inch than any other area of my house. But, you know, I just couldn't help myself. Like, I just wanted to make sure it was nice and green and a lovely place to be, and it really is. I really enjoy being in my kitchen, and I come check on my planties all the time, and I am always finding excuses to come and do some repotting, some replanting, making things look like they're up to snuff, giving them their little nitrogen sticks, and making sure that they have room for their roots to grow in new pots, and just always coming in here, being my little plant mom self. So happy. Now, as far as that lovely little corner of the living room, I like to call my art studio. Yeah, it's a great space. It's not huge, and it definitely does start to feel pretty full over there with all of the lights, camera, and action that's required to create all my YouTube videos. But for the most part, I'm really happy with it. If you're interested in learning about how to set up a studio space for yourself with not only maximum efficiency, but also really ergonomic practices, check out this video right here, because I've got one for you that people have found very helpful for setting up your own space. As far as my space goes, though, I love having my paints all separated out. Each color has its own little place in my super fabulous art bin that is also home to part of my sticker collection. Underneath it, I've just got more storage for spray paints and other kinds of, you know, there's always a million art materials. You don't necessarily need to look at them all the time. So I've got them kind of tucked away right on top of this little rug that I think is a really good idea if you do not want to get charged a bunch of money for spilled oil paint when you leave your apartment. I actually just recently scored these metal shelves from a neighbor throwing them out. Oh yeah, and that's where I keep some of my recording equipment, leaf and flower press. You see some old artwork, paintbrushes, that kind of thing. Just whatever I need sort of at the handy. I'm loving this shelf though, such a good score. And if you remember my Picasso video, then you probably recognize my painted drawers. I've had these literally since I was like a small child, and have always kept my art supplies in them. I like to keep them quite organized, from my markers and stuff to my inking supplies to, of course, lots and lots of different cards, because you know your birdie loves her some snail mail. So all my postcards and cards are in here. And to me, it's just really, really satisfying to have everything exactly neat and organized where it needs to be. I love being able to have some inspiration to write to a friend or create an art project, and bam, I know exactly where everything is right there. I always try to let my clients know that before you try to create any great art, you really need to have your space organized. It's just such a much better way to have your brain free. I have everything tucked away or tucked under that I need. I'm not looking or spending creative time searching for something that I should know where it is. Even though it might not look like the most beautiful space to other people, I know exactly where everything is. I know exactly where to reach for the supply that I need. And so to me, it is highly, highly organized. It just goes to show that there isn't one certain way. And you definitely don't have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on organizational products or whatever. You can just use what you have, or maybe score a few things from the thrift store, or reuse a few old containers here and there. But seriously, having your space organized is one of the best ways to foster creativity within your own space. Here's a bunch of stuff specifically for like oil painting, like my mediums and varnishes and that kind of thing. And then just underneath, I have all my active sketchbooks. So all my old sketchbooks to look and admire are in another space, but these ones all have blank pages in them. They're all different kinds to continue using. Last but not least, tucked away in the back, I've got some recording equipment that you know I'll be pulling out every single week to get these videos to you. Make sure to pop over to this playlist right here of some of my past studio vlogs. There are some of my most popular videos. I've got a lot of feedback from people getting some great inspiration from my tiny houses in Hawaii and the amazing studio spaces I've set up in just a few square feet. Thanks again for being here today, guys. I really love playing the hostess, and it's always a treat to bring you into my creative space. Love you guys. Have a great holiday season, and I'll see you next time.